Public folders, they're still around, but there are some big changes afoot. The public folder database has gone, and public folders are now mailboxes. They're a special kind of mailbox. But it does mean that the multi-master replication model has changed. On the upside, everything stays the same from a user perspective. Public folder client permissions can be set. Public folder hierarchy still looks the same to the user. On the flip side, there can only be one active copy, so potentially users could be connecting to a remote copy. And in RTM, public folders won't be supported in 2013 OA. Migrating public folders is another challenge, as it's a one-way migration. You could potentially lose data if you need to roll back. You can sync the data and then keep doing delta syncs just to switch it over when you're ready to. Which brings us on to migrating. And I call it migration. I don't adhere to this transition migration malarkey. You're upgrading or you're migrating, whether it's from an earlier version of Exchange or another messaging system. You're transitioning when you're changing your gender. You'll need a service pack for Exchange 2007 or 2010. For 2010, it will need 2010 Service Pack 3, which will be out in January or considerably later. That's needed because the legacy environment knows nothing about the new one. There are the steps. You deploy the mailbox first, as that has the PowerShell on it, and then the CAS role. No rocket science, but also no need for a legacy namespace, which is not the case with 2007. That will need 2007 SP3 with an update roll-up, and then it's a bit like the legacy namespace scenario that exists for 2010 with 2003. And there's a scenario in which you can have 2007 and 2010 mixed, in which case you still need a legacy namespace. The prerequisites with regards to Active Directory and client prerequisites. Bear in mind that it's Outlook Anywhere only. Certificates. These are simplified. You don't need the local server in the cert, and you'll get notified when the certificate is due to expire. 2013 has support for internal and external Outlook Anywhere, and something else worth mentioning, the target for the mailbox for Outlook is now the mailbox GUID, because the mailbox GUID stays with the mailbox for the entirety of its life. The RPC client access array no longer exists, so you don't need that in a certificate. There is still a CAS array object, but it's just a reference to a collection of CAS servers. Layer 7 load balancers are not required for 2013. All the load balancers should be doing is balancing the load between CAS servers. It's not recommended to do SSL offloading. That secure traffic will get passed by the CAS server to the appropriate mailbox server where de-encapsulation takes place. Load balancers can still perform health check analysis to ensure the availability of the target, because every virtual directory has a hidden healthcheck.htm which supports anonymous authentication. Something else to note there, IIS authentication methods must include NTLM. Mailbox migrations can be scheduled and batched, retried, and you can sync and switch. There's stacks that can be done through the EAC, and the notifications drop down will keep you abreast of what's happening. Public folder migration is a sync and switch operation, so if you've got a lot of public folders, you can start them migrating early on and then switch them across once you've moved all the mailboxes. Golden rules: use EAC to manage 2013 and view some of the 2010-2007, and use 2010-2007 EMC or EMS to manage those, so nothing new there. Office 365 is undergoing changes as well. That will be Exchange 2013 too, and you can have hybrid deployments as per the table, or you can perform a migration. Migration options are much more simple because you're pulling everything from Office 365. There are some caveats. There are different types of migrations: cutover, staged, and hybrid. If you're considering a migration to Office 365 or a hybrid deployment including on-prem and Office 365, you'll want to review these slides in more details using the pause and play features. Archiving in 2013. There are improvements to archiving, discovery and search. For starters, it spreads across Exchange, Link and SharePoint, and a hold is implemented across all of those, as well as Office 365. There's a mention there about site mailboxes, which is a SharePoint feature that I really like and plan to evangelize on separately. But to touch on them briefly, there are mailboxes that can be used by a team, for example, for information sharing or project collaboration. They get created in SharePoint and then appear automatically in the mailbox of the users who you deploy them to. You can save documents through them directly into SharePoint, as well as check documents in and out. They're really cool. I mean, the kind of cool that has dry ice flowing down around your ankles, that kind of cool. You need site mailboxes. Everyone needs site mailboxes. I might even have some at home. I think hold, discovery, immutability, MRM and all that jazz are the tedious but necessary components. So if you want more info, pause, play, pause, play, pause, play, pause. The only thing I want to highlight is the addition of the case management feature in SharePoint and its preview feature. It's all very impressive, most welcome, but I think I'll be sticking red hot pokers in my eyes before I blog in detail about them. OA, that's something else I disagree with them about. It's OA, not OAP. I'm not going to win on that one. Even the team responsible for it want it to be called OA. Super clever, super funky OA across different form factors. When you compare OA and Outlook, it's become even harder to distinguish the two. But I'm sure you've heard about the biggest change. Offline OA. Now, I'm not sure about this. It utilizes changes in browser technology and the ability to store browsing data in a browser database. Of course, you can switch it off, and I think the concerns about putting the responsibility of data protection into the hands of end users might find a lot of businesses doing just that. The addition of the feature is good, but it presents new challenges with regards to data protection. Mail apps. Here's my ticket to fame and fortune. If I can come up with a mail app that's indispensable. Out of the box, you get Bing Maps, which is a good example. The app identifies addresses in a message and displays a map, and not an Apple map in the middle of the CCC. It's clever stuff because it's available across different clients once you've installed an app. You can control it as an admin too. It's a quick pause moment if you're planning on working with mail apps. Some gotchas with OA worth knowing about. I don't see any deal breakers personally. And another pause for Office web apps with Link. It's related to Exchange because of the connection with OA. Worth noting that Office web apps requires a dedicated server. You can find more about that at Benoit's Corner, which is a blog by a frog. And quite a good one. Blog, that is. OA monitoring. This demonstrates the seriousness of managed availability, where the emphasis has shifted from simple server monitoring to protocol and client experience analysis. Some features for OA 2013. You really need to explore it to appreciate the benefits though, and we won't be doing that today. I mentioned the out-of-the-box anti-malware, and of course the anti-spam in Exchange Online is still an option. DLP. Fairly straightforward to create DLP policies. There are some DLP templates, and you can use one of those as a starting point for a custom DLP policy. DLP uses keywords, dictionary matches, content examination, that sort of stuff, to apply actions to messages to achieve the aim of data loss prevention. You should be aware that you need an enterprise CAL to use that. What else did I pick out? The notifications feature of EAC that I already mentioned. The ability to lock down admin internet access, an important consideration if we're now connecting to Exchange using HTTP and we're publishing to the internet as well. Multi-forest support, cross-forest and resource forest support. Remote PowerShell, the RBAC bypass route has been closed, and I can now run my PowerShell from a tropical beach hut somewhere. I just need to create the business case for it. And I thought this one was worth including. If you started at the end and you're working your way back through this video blog. That's it for my roundup of MEC 2012. All that's left to show you are some shots of Universal Islands of Adventure, which was hired out for us on Monday night, sponsored by HP, with rides with no queues and free food and free booze throughout. And when I say sponsored by HP, I mean Hewlett Packard, not Harry Potter. That's my rental, yeah mama. And my R&R hotel on the East Coast where I went to recover after the conference. It's a hard knock life. Thanks for watching, listening, fast forwarding, whatever. Hope it was useful. Hope you can catch up with me at my website users.co.uk and view my tech blog at users.co.uk/tech blog. Please note that this is an unofficial video blog and is no way endorsed or approved by Microsoft. I do not speak for the Microsoft Exchange team, and if I've got something wrong, I'd love to hear about it so that I can put it right, or at least know that I've got it wrong. Thanks, this is Steve Downing, and this was MEC